Hello everybody and welcome. In today's video, we're going to talk about how to create overlaps in Football Manager. And let's get started by talking about responsibility. Creating an overlap in your tactic requires at least two players, somebody in the advanced position cutting inwards and somebody from a deeper position overlapping him. And like the underlap, it is your responsibility as the manager to create the overlap in your tactic. Because creating an overlap is a combination of your formation and the player roles you choose. It is not created with the overlap team instruction. That instruction tells your team to look for the overlap, not create it. To dive deeper, let's head into the team instruction screen. The overlap instruction is part of the approach play, so we'll see this action more in the midfield area as opposed to near the penalty box. And the description tells us it instructs players to hold onto the ball and look for an overlapping player. Here's a clip where we'll get a general sense of what an overlap is. This is us on the ball in the midfield, attacking to the right. Here's our player in a more advanced position. He's going to move inwards. His teammate on the flank, just behind him, is going to stay wide and overlap, helping us move the ball up the field. Here's another example with the overlap instruction off. In this case, you are giving your player in the advanced position more creative freedom, which means he might ignore his overlapping teammate. But in this example, with the overlap instruction on, we are telling the player in the more advanced position to wait and specifically look for that overlapping teammate. Now that we know what an overlap is, in the next section we'll talk about how to create one. Much like creating underlaps, I find that formations with two players on each flank to be the most effective. Ones like the 4-3-3, 4-1-4-1, or the 4-4-2. And there are two types of player roles we need. The first one is the one in the advanced position. They need to cut inwards towards the center midfield. This would be player roles like the inside forward, the wide playmaker, and sometimes the inverted winger. The other player role we need is the one doing the overlap. This would be roles like the wingback, complete wingback, and the fullback. Here's a formation example. On the left flank, we have probably the most common and effective way to create an overlap: the inside forward on support and the wingback on attack. In the video on the underlap, a few of you guys rightly pointed out that adding in these team instructions affects the player roles mentality. So let's look at an example of something to watch for in your matches. Here's a 4-4-2 we've seen before with Santa Clara in the 2nd Division of Portugal. We have a subtle overlap candidate with a wide playmaker who likes to cut inside, and the fullback who will be doing the overlap. In this example, we've got the ball in the midfield attacking to the right. Here's my slightly injured wide playmaker and the fullback on support. When the playmaker gets the ball, watch the fullback's lack of initial forward movement, because on support, he's a little less willing to make those forward runs. Back at the tactics screen, if we look at the fullback on support, without the overlap instruction, his mentality is balanced. When we add in the overlap instruction to the tactic, his mentality increases to positive. Now in this clip, there's not a dramatic difference between the player roles mentality. However, you may be able to tell that the wide playmaker is waiting a little longer to look for that overlapping fullback. We know about underlaps, and now we know about overlaps, so let's check out a tactic that uses both. This is an oldie tactic, as it appeared in the very first video I did on the box-to-box midfielder, and it's one of my favorites. On the left flank, we get a natural underlap movement between the winger and the inverted wingback. And on the right flank, we get a natural overlap movement between the inside forward and the wingback. Here we've got the ball in the midfield attacking to the right. The inside forward will get the ball and cut inside, leaving room for the natural overlap from the wingback. Later in the half, we've got the ball in the midfield again. The inverted wingback creates a natural underlap with the winger, which gives the winger room on the flank and isolation against only one defender. As we wrap up, here are some player roles that can either overlap, underlap, or do a little bit of both. Have fun experimenting with different combinations and see what kind of movements you can get. If you're curious about any of the player roles discussed in today's video, I've got different playlists that you can check out. I've also got a Patreon account if you'd like to support the channel. Anyway, that's all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching.